It's Wednesday. We've got a 10-game Major League Baseball slate on DraftKings, and we've got JT's Bang Bang plays of the day. So let's start with the pitching as always, and my top priority tonight is going to be going right back to Tyler Glasnow. A little bit of a letdown last time out against a very powerful Toronto Blue Jays team. He faces a team with a lot of power tonight as well in the Oakland A's, but I think this is a very nice bounce back spot. There is a lot of swing and miss in this Oakland lineup, and Tyler Glasnow is poised to take advantage of that with a 16% swinging strike rate and a 40% strikeout rate overall. I think he can get to 3x of his 10.3K salary on DraftKings tonight. The other pitcher I'm looking at, again, I'm recording this early in the day, but I do like the matchup. I do like the game environment. And I do like the price for German Marquez in San Francisco, away from Coors, against the San Francisco Giants, who are dealing with some injuries. Mike Yastrzemski has been out of the lineup there, and I think that makes a big difference. German Marquez on the year has pitched well, even though he's been at home in Coors. This is a much, much better game environment. He's going to have a somewhat pitcher-friendly umpire behind the plate here, and he's got a 13% swinging strike rate and a 60% ground ball rate on the year. In a place where it's difficult to elevate and get the ball out of the park as it is, that ground ball rate, I think, is going to help keep the Giants in check. Take the discount on Marquez over the opposing pitcher, Alex Wood, at just 7.5K on DraftKings. There's a lot of offenses tonight I think you can look at. Obviously, the Yankees put up a big number yesterday in Baltimore, a bunch of home runs there. How about the Toronto Blue Jays and Vlad Guerrero? 3 home runs last night. They took advantage of Max Scherzer's 60% fly ball rate and a little bit of luck that he was having coming into that game with a 200 batting average on balls in play against him. But I'm looking at 2 other spots tonight. I think spots that are going to be a little bit less popular. And I'll start right here in Atlanta. Kyle Hendricks and the Chicago Cubs. This Atlanta Braves team has been not exactly hot to start the year, but just a week ago they did knock Kyle Hendricks all over the park. Look, Kyle Hendricks has been a very good control pitcher and had some really good results over his career, but his velocity is down to simply batting practice velocity now. And at 85 miles per hour, when those balls dip out of the strike zone, Major League hitters are not going to be fooled, and I don't think the Atlanta Braves are going to be fooled tonight. Look, we've heard, right? They're burning Sage in the dugout. They're burning Sage in the outfield. And I'm not talking about Sage, the stripper that your dad hired for you for your 21st birthday. We're talking about the green little plant that makes you feel good, calms you down, and brings that good mojo. So, for the Braves tonight, obviously Acuna, Freddie Freeman, Ozzie Albies, of course. But there's a couple of guys down low in this lineup that I think you can play tonight that are doing pretty well. Dansby Swanson is one at just 3.5K on DraftKings. Travis d'Arnaud in a catcher spot that is usually hard to fill, although there are some popular catchers, I think, on this slate. He's just 4.8, and a guy who I think is going to break out in a big way real soon. Very high walk rate, putting the ball in the air. Marcell Ozuna at 5.1. I would not make a Brave stack without him tonight. For the second stack of the night, we're going to need to find some value, and I think we have some value out west. Ryan Weathers has pitched very well to start the season for the San Diego Padres, but the underlying metrics there are just a little bit concerning. The Arizona Diamondbacks are a team that hits left-handed pitching very well. They crushed Max Fried, who's a better pitcher than Ryan Weathers. They also crushed Patrick Corbin. I think Patrick Corbin is probably on the back end of his career, but with a 9% walk rate, a .97 batting average on balls in play against Ryan Weathers, a 9% barrel rate, a 41% hard hit rate. It's just a matter of time until the wheels fall off here and he gives up a bunch of runs. I think that happens tonight in Arizona. The roof is going to be open. It's going to be warm. It's a good hitting environment. And there's no hotter hitter right now on the Arizona Diamondbacks than Carson Kelly, the catcher. He just crushes left-handed pitching. 4.6K on DraftKings. Nick Ahmed hopefully will be leading off. He has in the past against left-handed pitchers on occasion, just 2.9K. And then Asdrubal Cabrera, 3.6K on DraftKings. A bargain stack here against Ryan Weathers. People talk about the San Diego bullpen. I think they're a little bit above league average, but I do think that this team can put some runs up on them as they did last night. So, Tyler Glasnow, Herman Marquez, the Braves, the Diamondbacks. Let's run pure tonight. Good luck.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the NBA Hardwood Show. I'm your host, Mangone. I'm here with Titletown. We got Big T back in the office, back at home, away from the mountains. We'll go to you first, Title. Did you happen to be at Big T's when he came back? Were you there sitting in the basement, hanging out, having a good time?
Yeah, I was just camped out in there. No, I mean, it's nice to see Big T back in his office, though. Yeah, we got a 10-game slate. What, Big T back? No hoop even. We got Mangone sitting in for him. It's going to be a nice, fun show. Got baseball locking at 6:05, so Central Time, 7:05 Eastern. Tons of sports tonight. A lot of action. Excited to pick some winners. Big T's back in his natural habitat where the winners are picked.
Yeah, I'm sure lunch was had today, Big T. Did we go to Wendy's? Did we go to the pizza place that we went to? What happened? What was on the schedule for lunch today? You had to get back into the routine, I'm sure.
Yeah, we got a little chilly today. Uncle T was still missing, though. He was missing on the golf show last night. He was missing at lunch today. Do we need to get the milk carton out? Where is Uncle T? Everyone wants to know where Uncle T is these days.
He was texting me the past 2 days too. I don't know what he's doing.
I got a message from Uncle T. He took care of the NBA free article that we have breaking down the entire slate. So I can confirm he did that today. So he is alive and well, I think. But
he might have just been dodging me. I mean, that's very hurtful, as some people like to say. I'll tell you what's not hurtful, though. I finally broke the losing streak against Title. Finally shifted the momentum. It's been a little bit, but my dude broke his leg in the MMA. Still took Title down. It felt good. Now I'm back in the home office. We're turning things around, Mangone. It's our time now.
Let's turn around. I will say my buddy Hector got you good. Like you were talking crap about him.
I gotta send him his lunch too. He did. I don't know which fight did we bet? What did he say? I don't even know which one we bet.
He took the dog and Vargas.
He took a dog. It was Vargas.
Was that versus my one dude?
Yeah, you're
that
trying.
Was the one he beat me. He beat me with a plus 200 dog too. Oh, Hector. Whew, no, Hector. I'm gonna send that to him right now while we're on the show.
Yeah, he helped me a little with the MMA stuff when I was driving, so I was talking to him a little bit. I read Title's playbook, right? I was in a scramble, so I had to talk on the phone with somebody. He hooked me up. He helped me with the Vargas call.
You got Hector's phone number?
Oh, we Discord. You can call him Discord all the time. So
you call someone on Discord? You called Hector? I want to call Hector.
Not often, but you can, right? I mean, there's a thing. I literally messaged him. I was coming from like a surprise 30th birthday party. I had an hour 30 to make a team, and I had an hour 45-minute drive. So I needed to at least talk it out with someone to be able to understand what I was going with. I listened to the show with Title, right? I took his kind of main event approach. I listened to Joey work in DC on the way there. Then the way home, I got the lineup together, and it was an okay team. It wasn't bad, wasn't the best, but that's okay. We had a weird show, obviously, with MMA, right? You don't get that every week. We have a weird show tonight, Tony. What's the show we got going on tonight? It's a free show. It's about the NFL draft, right?
Yeah, I mean, they just told me today that I was going on a show, so I said I'll put some wine in the freezer, and I did. Chill it up a little bit for the show tonight. Go on and see if we can find some winners for tomorrow night. I'm not a huge draft guy, but I'll find some winners for the people.
Yeah, I mean, you've already found some, right? Like you've been on the bet side. You gave out the Mac Jones, which is looking good for you. I'm not going to say it's like locked in there.
Nothing's ever a lock in the draft, but I feel good about we definitely got the better of the number. I mean, it was a plus number when we got it. It's minus 300 or so now. Maybe it wins, maybe it doesn't, but all you can do in the long run is what? Get the better end of that number. It's all you can ask for.
Yep, so they'll be going live for free, I believe, on this channel. Maybe it's on the Run Pure Bets. I don't know exactly. Maybe the producer can let
this channel, I believe.
All right, this channel, you will have Big T, you'll have JSU, you'll have JJ, and you'll have Holden hosting the show. It's going to be an awesome time. They'll be breaking down the NFL draft, giving out some bets. And then our Run Pure Bets crew, they'll be live tomorrow, breaking down the draft while it's going on. And I'm like Tony, I'm not a big draft guy, but I like to get in the mix. I think it's a good time. It's fun to watch. Title, are you a big draft guy?
I like watching in round one, seeing what all the teams do. I really only care about what my Packers do, and every single year they do something I don't want them to do. Probably the worst draft in any sports history of what they did last year with the quarterback, third stringer, not even suited up. I mean, I could go on and on. I like watching the draft, but my Packers hurt me every year, so it is what it is.
I'm hopeful it's Rondell Moore this year. Hopeful. Well, we'll see.
It'll probably be a kicker or another quarterback or something. I mean, it's not what you ever want.
Hopefully not, but that will be live tonight. So be sure to check that out and check out all the stuff we have over at Run Pure Sports. Use the code RPSHeater25 to sign up and get a 25% deposit bonus, or use the code GetBets to be able to get access to the bet side for free for an entire month. Also, want to talk about our segment where we talk about the winners, the members that never win apparently, but hey, they won last night and there was a nice little win. And no, this was not my burner account. Trav 21 Sig took it down 25K with an interesting lineup. And listen, this is a team that I don't even think Big T would put together. He likes to go off the board sometimes for some plays. You hear him give out the Daniel Gafford. Now people are playing Daniel Gafford. You hear him give out LaMarcus Aldridge, and then he retires. Mr. Mulder from the Warriors was on this team, putting up 31. You had Edwards. You had Tim Hardaway Jr., D'Angelo Russell, Steph Curry, Luka Doncic. You had Christian Wood. I know Big T would consider playing Hernan Gomez, Mr. Wancho on there, and then Kelly Olynyk. So, Tony, we talk about it a lot on these smaller slates, right? Getting unique sometimes is a big difference. And on a slate that some stuff kind of busted and went a little wrong, right? You had the Blazers game blowout. You had the Warriors game blowout where it kind of messed up the slate a bit. And this guy had Steph Curry on his team who had 35 fantasy points. I mean, if you have Steph Curry, you're not winning any money. Not so fast, Tony. He won a lot of money last night. He won 25K.
And the night before, JSU's NBA team, he had Jared Allen got like 27 for 7,500 or whatever he was too. So you just never know, especially this time in the year in the NBA, especially the short slates. If you just punt games and just pretend they don't exist and just do that as a strategy, you can end up chipping because, yeah, that Indiana game had great plays yesterday. It ends up being a 40-point game or whatever it ended up being. I don't know what the final was, but it was 40 for a minute. And you fade that game, and then you fade the Warriors game somehow, or for the most part, you get a ton of blowout guys, and then all of a sudden you have a clear path to victory. And that's what happened for this dude last night. Great strategy. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have played Mulder, even though he's a Kentucky guy. I think Coach Cal, he was one of Coach Cal's boys in that recruiting class, but still, I support it. Play a little different path. Love it. I think he was hooking some people up with some tournament entries in the Discord too, I saw, which I always love.
Oh yeah, you definitely love to see that. We've been having a lot of people giving back, which we love to see. Title, what'd you think of this team that he put together here?
Yeah, I see him in chat too. He's in there watching. I mean, what a win for him. Yesterday was one of the craziest NBA slates I can remember. It might have been the craziest all year. I mean, the Warriors had 29 points at halftime. They
missed 18 shots in a row, Title. 18 in a row. Crazy.
62-29 going into half when they had Steph and everyone. I mean, that was just crazy. I mean, the Pacers, it was a close game in the first half for the Pacers. Absolutely fell off in the third quarter. That game went crazy. It was just a very, very interesting night. And on smaller slates later in the year, there might be more slates like that. So going to guys like Mulder, he had lower owned Anthony Edwards when Jaylen Brown was very popular and Kevin Porter was the very popular duo at small forward on FanDuel. Porter busted, Anthony Edwards, there's all your leverage right there. I mean, you know it's a busting night when 35 Steph Curry, 3.5x or whatever is in the winning lineup, but that's how it was. Mulder, absolutely great call. Hernan Gomez, Anthony Edwards, sprinkle in the low-owned pieces in the chalk bust. You don't need the complete nuts. That's why you do get different in tournaments. You can't just play your cash team in the 130,000 tournament or whatever people to win it all. I mean, you got to get different at places. Awesome lineup. And what a crazy slate it was. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely a crazy slate, and there's some crazy stuff going on. And right now we are at that time in NBA where the news drops and you got to be ready to switch your teams, right? Of course, like you want to like some players and stay on them. And like one guy's Russell Westbrook. Like I want to just keep jamming him in and keep playing him, right? But you never know. Like the slate changes and I have like 4 value point guards. What do I do? So being able to be flexible, understanding that, hey, the slate can change at any second. Let's dive in though. Let's talk about the slate. Before we do it, let's get those likes. Let's get those subscribes up. We got, listen, 325 watching. I get it. It's NBA in May, in April. And of course, there's not going to be, the 1,000 people here, but you guys are the loyal. You're the ones who are here all the time. Like, come on, let's get those likes up. We got it at 85 right now. Let's push it over. Maybe if we are pleased, maybe we'll give away some gear. We won't pick any number, but if I'm pleased by the end of the show, I'll give some gear to someone. But let's dive in and talk about this slate. Let's talk about the Orlando Magic and the Cleveland Cavaliers, which, hey, it sounds like a game that typically you would just look at and completely fade. That's kind of what I want to do, but I don't think I can because these teams are shorthanded. You got K Falix boy, Dean Wade at 3.5K at a gross power forward position, which I think you have to consider him as a value play today to help jam in some of these studs. Jarrett Allen is definitely in the conversation because they're going to need his size all game long, and they are shorthanded in the front court with no Larry Nance. Cedi Osman, he's gone up, right? He went from 3K to 5K. There's a lot of opportunity here on the Cavs, and on the opposite side, we have James Ennis in, and then we have Terrence Ross out. So there is still some opportunity here for some of these Magic guys. Title, I'm going to go to you first here on this one. What are you doing with this Magic and Cavs game?
Yeah, like you mentioned, 2 teams we really don't want to play too much. It's going to be a lower scoring total, but there's just a lot of injuries, and that's mainly what matters to me at this point of the year in DFS is who's getting the most minutes, regardless of blowouts. And I think these 2 teams offer them. Cedi Osman, 5K on DraftKings. I know that feels a little expensive, like you said, but he played 38 and 37 minutes the past 2 games. 5K for someone that's about to play 40 minutes. His usage rate has gone up a little bit, shooting more in his role. I'm good with him. I know he was in the beginning of the year, anytime there was injuries, he was a very good play. He did very well. He got left out of the rotation for a couple months. Now he seems to be closing the year back in with the injuries. I like him for that price tag for the minutes. Dean Wade, like you mentioned, I like him on both sites, 3,500 on both sites. Way too cheap for his role. I mean, yeah, he's not a great player, but he's going to get you rebounds, hustle points. When you're out on the floor, you fall into points. That's what Dean Wade's going to do again. 3,500 for sure. Kevin Love on FanDuel, 5,600. You mentioned power forward isn't very good. That's another one. I like that price tag. His minutes have came down. They are finally starting to go more, give the younger guys more run and condense their rotation with the Cedi Osmans, with the Dean Wades. But still, if you give me 26, 27 minutes of Kevin Love on FanDuel at 5,600 at a bad position, I'll take that. Going to the Magic side, I wouldn't play Kevin Love on DraftKings though. 6,700. He's not playing enough minutes over there. Just FanDuel play. For the Orlando side, Gary Harris and Cole Anthony are my 2 favorites. Cole Anthony just always has the ball in his hands. He shoots a lot. He's getting a lot of rebounds, way more than you'd expect. His rebounding rate, assist rate's pretty good. On this slate, I don't think you need it, but I think he goes lower owned, and that's why I do have interest if you are game stacking this game. Gary Harris is the other one, 4,200 on DraftKings, little more expensive on FanDuel. No, 3,600 on FanDuel. Really like that price tag over there. It's going to be a stars and scrubs route tonight with so many games, so many injuries. There's a lot of value. I like the value on both sides in this game just because the minutes feel very secure, even with a lower total.
Yep. Title, thank you. Bring up some really good points about that game. Again, this is a game, Tony, like I could see you trying to cross off, and it's hard for me to get away from it completely because there are some injuries here, but it is a big slate. So you are able to pull it off, I think, but are you going to pull it off? I'm curious to hear which way you're going with this one.
Jarrett Allen too. I forgot to mention him. I like Jarrett Allen as well. I mean, this game, yeah, I want to hear what Big T says too, but there's a lot more pieces than you think from just looking at the 2 teams. Jarrett Allen is a very good play, better on FanDuel too.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm looking at it, and I've been on Cleveland a little bit the last week to 10 days. Some of these guys like Garland with Sexton out has turned into the main guy. I mean, his price is all the way up to 77, but I think he's pretty safe at that price. I think his floor is safe. I think his ceiling is high, even though his price looks pretty high. I don't know. I get worried. Like Jarrett Allen, like I just talked about with JSU the other night, he got 27. So I am a little bit more of a box score guy than other people, I think. I just look at his tag. I mean, in the 7Ks, he is cheaper on FanDuel, but FanDuel, you only got 1 center, which also hurts a little bit. But, I mean, he's only had one game. These are where I don't understand the prices, where I struggle. Like 27, 26, 21, 13, 28. And the dude is 7,200. I just struggle with that. Like, I know it's probably not right. And I know a lot of people just look at the numbers. Go ahead, Mango.
So it's a different situation, right? I mean, there's no, you're cutting out the pie where we had Mitchell there before. Now he's gone. Now we have no Conley too, right? Like, so I do get it. It is an uncomfortable tag on him. And I don't know what I'm doing with him as well. I've gone back and forth. Do I only pick one of Ingles and one of Clarkson, right? Because I feel like playing both, you are creating a nice floor, but I do feel like you could be capping your ceiling a bit. And I think it depends if Clarkson is starting. What if Clarkson?
How are you talking about the Utah guys?
I thought you were talking about, were you talking about Clarkson? Or
Jared Allen.
Oh, I thought I honestly think you were talking about I thought you were talking about Jordan Clarkson. I thought you switched to a totally different game. So
I
thought I was losing my mind.
I thought I was losing my mind. I thought you said Jordan Clarkson.
Me too.
Man, okay.
So we're looking like what?
I thought you went to them because you said the same price tag as him over there. Okay. No, the Allen thing. So the reason is that's so funny that we went there with that. The Allen thing is interesting too, though, because there are no guys that are gone, right? Like so you have Kevin Love who's there. You have Larry Nance, who's not there now, and they're just totally thin at the position. You have no Colin Sexton, right?
Hartenstein, too.
And the key here, too, with Allen, because me and Title talked about this on Sunday. We talked about this discussion. Jared Allen. We talked about how he's going against the Wizards, and they need his size, right? Tony, they need his size here today. Who else are they going to play?
I mean, I get it. Believe me. I'm not even saying I completely don't like him. I'm just saying I hate playing guys when – I get what you guys are saying. Like, I don't know how to explain what I'm saying, what my side of it is. But if I see a dude 7,200 and he just hasn't really done that much, I get worried. And same thing with Chetty, though. Like, I've played Chetty. He was great. I mean, he was 3K, the one slate, 3,500, 39. I get very worried when he's 5K, and I know he's going to pop in all the projections. He's going to look great because of, you know what? He gets the minutes. He's played 38 and 37. I see the flip side of that. As a tournament player, I see that he played 37 and 38 minutes and got 26 and 31 fantasy points. He got 3 steals the one game and still only 26 fantasy points. So, yeah, this is where I think it's different between cash and tournaments, where cash, those minutes and that safety is nice. Tournaments, I mean, I don't know if there's a ceiling there. The dude played 1 million minutes against Washington, I might add, one of them, who's one of the worst defenses ever. Still only 31. He shot 3 for 6 from the arc, 7 for 12, and still only got 31 fantasy points in that many minutes. I don't think I can pay 5K for Chetty Osman. I'd rather pay 3,500 for Dean. Like, they feel like the same play to me, Dean Wade and Chetty, except I get to save 1,500 to play. Sure, the safety's probably not the same. Maybe Dean Wade has a smaller floor, but you know what? He's 1,500 cheaper. It's easier to play guys like Westbrook and Jokic and the guys we want to get up to by doing the 30. I'd probably even rather, this is going to really be gross, I'd probably rather play Okoro at 3,800 too. He's playing high 32 minutes too.
But I get it, because Tony, like, just to talk the structure, of the slate, if you jam in some of these mid-tier guys, the Chetty Osmans, the Jared Allens, right, the Cole Anthonys, the Ingles, the Clarksons, I'm trying to think of other mid-tier guys that are getting ownership today. But as you keep jamming those guys in, Halliburton's another good example. As you keep jamming in those mid-tier guys, you lose the ability to play 2 studs, right? You lose the ability to jam in like Westbrook, Jokic. You have Embiid you could consider in this spot. You have Randall, who obviously could see a ton of minutes. If you want to go to Bradley Beal, sure. Anthony Davis, I know, is off that minutes limit. Paul George, who's going to see good usage. Jimmy Butler, if we get the Heat news. You lose the ability to jam in those guys, and that's going to be the key. And that's why I kind of like exactly what Tony's saying. I'd rather die with a 3K guy that gets me 11 fantasy points than a 5K guy. And that's why I'm thinking of trying to maybe jam in 2 studs, which –
those studs are so good too, because they both need wins. They both they both want to finish strong, going into the playoffs. I mean, I agree.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on it. And like a lot of these mid-tier guys are on my mind. Probably why I talked about Clarkson there, because I think that is going to be the key on this slate. Are you peppering the mid-tier or are you jamming in some studs? Which, again, there's a lot of good mid-tier options. Like, we didn't even talk about Cole Anthony yet too much in this game, but, like, he's a really good option, obviously. I know James Ennis is there, but there's no Ross, and there's a huge amount of usage being funneled to him. And if you wanted to game stack this game, Tony, like, Cole Anthony is in play.
I think he's like the best play in the game, just according to safety floor. Like, he's not. I know 5K for Chetty and 6,300 for Cole. They're not the same position. It's a little more, but 1,300 as a tournament. Like, that's not that. They're both mid-range. They're mid-range guys, like you were saying, Mangone. I want in the 40s from both of those guys for the most part. Like, if I play Chetty at 5K as a chalky play, I want high 30s from him. If I play Cole Anthony at 63, I want high 30s, low 40s. So mid-range, I kind of want the same thing from him, even though the price isn't the same. I'd much rather play Cole Anthony than a guy like Chetty. I think he's a great play.
Only in April would the Magic and the Cavs be one of the best games for DFS purposes. I mean, it just like but I have a question, Big T. Could you like make a case for even fading this game fully with their price? I mean, their price tags on these guys, like somebody has to smash on both teams for their price tags to get there. I mean, if Vegas projects them both over 100 points and you look at the price tags on both these guys, nobody's priced. I mean, Garland and Allen are priced up the most. The Magic are so cheap, but there's a ton of Cavs guys that are very cheap too for their minutes in the condensed rotation. Like, how do you approach that in tournaments? Because they're going to get ownership. I mean, people in this game are definitely going to get some ownership.
There's going to be a ton of high-owned guys in this game just because the early game is almost always owned just because the plays are there. We know the starters. We know the projections. We know everything before the slate starts. You can, at this time of year, I don't care what the game, it could be any game. You can fade it out of the gate because if the news breaks right later in the night, you are going to have a clean path to victory like we talked about to start the show. And if it's Orlando, Cleveland, anything could happen in this game. This could be a 40-point game that no one gets there. Like, if you think this game is safe, you've lost your mind in April, the end of April, early May NBA. Like, there's nothing safe about these two teams.
Yeah,
it's just the minutes and the price, but yeah, it's
even
not
that.
safe.
Like, I get it that on paper we think they're safe, but like if at the end of the night these guys busted and played less minutes, you wouldn't be shocked. But there's no way you'd be shocked.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked at all. I will say Dean Wade is a guy that I'm definitely looking at because mainly I just want to save, right, to get in other plays. Like that's.
I think Dean Wade's one of the better ones just because his price tag. They have to want to get him a little bit of minutes at the end of the year. I like him for sure. I mean, he sticks off the page, and I'm still throwing up too from freaking Title talking about Gary Harris. Oh my God, he's bad.
He's 3,600 on FanDuel.
I will say I've dabbled in Gary Harris on the Magic like once this year.
I bet it didn't go well.
It was fine, right? It wasn't the worst. I think he got me 19 on FanDuel. It worked because I needed the punt. It was jammed in all the dudes. It was fine. It didn't win me the slate. It didn't lose me the slate. I'll say that. Damian
Dotson's also there. He's min price on DraftKings. 24 minutes last game. Like, it just shows. I mean, yeah, it's going to be low owned. You don't need it, but it just shows how much value is on this slate. It's going to be a stars and scrubs route for a lot of people because there's infinite value on this slate in this game alone.
I think you can make too, though. Like Damian Dotson at 3K and Dean Wade at 3,500. And then you know what? It doesn't matter what happens in this game. They're going to play, and it could be a blowout. It could be a close game, and they're cheap. Even if they don't go off, you're still okay to get the studs in. I'm definitely sold on that. And Dotson, I agree. 3K, like, so you play Chetty at 5K. You need him to get in the 30s or you're in trouble. Damian Dotson, I don't really think there's hardly anything he can do outside of not playing to where he's going to kill you at 3K.
Yeah, I guess I'm just looking at some of these guys. I know you mentioned the Dotson thing. I mean, he's guard and forward eligible. Oh gosh,
he's safety in that small forwards for sure at 3K.
I do like I like the punt, right? Like if I'm gonna mess with these guys, like the punting is. I can survive an 11 from a guy as long as those studs carry me home, right? And that's kind of what I'm looking.
We need K. Felix, his charts. When were the minutes of these? When were these 24 minutes? Like, were they in the course of the normal game cycle?
Yeah,
he got. Where's our charts?
I can pull it up for you real quick.
26. Yeah, 2 days ago. This is the normal rotation that they're running out.
So it wasn't like he played the last 12 or something.
Oh,
weird.
you mean I don't believe I believe he got in both halves. We do need
I
to
can get it
check
for you.
that,
I'm right here on the game flow. I got the chart is up. So Dotson checked in at the 4:34 minute mark of the first, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
he played in the second. Normal rotations. He did close, right? He was part of the closing unit.
Was
So he
it a
got an extra
blowout?
4 minutes. I guess it was blowout, right? You never know. Sometimes like you can just catch it up. It looks like it was blowout. Yeah, so it was Broderick Thomas, Cabangale, and Dean Waits. Yeah, so it was a rough group closing it out. So he got 4 extra minutes. So you could say the floor is maybe like 15 to 18, and then maybe he plays into some minutes here and there. But I think there's better ways to go.
Yeah, he's not going to do worse than my dude Jabari yesterday, guys. So I'll let Big T talk about I'm glad Big T's back on this show so we can talk about the min price 3Ks. Yeah, he knows them better than me. I mean,
Jabari get Dotson. No, you're not getting off the hook, Daddy. Brought him up.
I know. That's why I went right to you about what you thought too.
Yeah. I think that'll wrap it up for this game. Patrick, we could get to the Jazz game. I'd love to get to that game, but we're going to wait, even though I want to talk so much about that game because it's the game of the night, right? Like one reason I don't love these Cleveland values as much like a Dotson is because the Kings will have tons of value there when we talk about that. It's one of the key parts of the entire slate. But let's go talk about this next game. It's the Hawks, and it is the Sixers. And we have a lot of injury news here. We're still waiting on some stuff as well. I can't play any Sixers right now. They're getting a little bit more healthy. Unless some guys are randomly out here that I miss or something comes across the timeline here. I don't want to mess with any Sixers, but we do have some guys that are looking to be out on the Hawks. We got Lou Williams in our life. We got John Collins, who, man, not the best matchup in the world. And we have Clint Capella, who is very expensive and not in a great matchup, but tons of usage that could be going his way. And these other guards that'll have some opportunity. Title will go to you first. What are you doing with this game? Because it feels like a game that I'm trying to stay away from right now.
Easy fade. So many games, 10 games, make it a 9-game slate. I mean, we just talked 10, 15 minutes on the Cavs Orlando alone, which is a game we love. You can't play everyone. It's a move on for me.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I think the slate changes if we get Bogdanovich out, right? So we have Herter doubtful. We have Bogdanovich was questionable, unless something popped up in the last couple hours that I missed. But that'll obviously change the whole slate if we do get that news, because 4.5K Lou Williams, Skylar Mays at 3K, even Goodwin, he's questionable. So like, what if he was out as well? I mean, I think we just need to kind of wait and see if we get that news. It's a 7:00 game, Tony. I say if these guys are in, we don't want to touch it. And if these guys are out, then we kind of circle back to this game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really see. So I'm looking through the names just to play. If Bogdan is that who you said? I didn't even know he was questionable.
He is questionable. Herter doubtful, and then Chris Dunn is back. That should be mentioned. He's 3.1K. I don't know how many minutes he'll really play. He played 13 minutes against Detroit, and then Skylar Mays obviously and Lou Williams will be lurking there. But yeah, Bogdanovich is the big one, questionable and good.
Yeah, I mean Philly's getting healthier. I really don't see. Even if Bogdan is out, a 10-game slate, I don't necessarily see anything that looks like a lock. Chris Dunn was the guy I was looking at because eventually he's going to get a burst. And at 3,100, you don't need – again, we just talked about the 3K guys. Like if you told me he was going to play 22 minutes or something, I think he could be a very good play. But you don't need him. Big slate, lots of good plays. I don't really want to pick on Philly almost ever. One of the better defenses in the league, especially as they get healthy. Yeah, easy fade for me here. I mean, you could make a case for some of these guys if Bogdan ends up sitting, but I don't think there's any like locky type plays.
Mango, this guy in chat, Noah in chat goes, I'm like 10 minutes behind, and Mango had me rewind the stream again when he switched off the Cleveland game to Utah game. He thought he missed something.
That was good.
I think
he kept going too, and me and Title were looking like, what is happening?
I was in my head. I was like, "Am I missing something?"
It's funny. I think because you mentioned the exact price tag of Clarkson, and I was like DMing someone literally about like the situation. So my brain was all over the place there.
That was perfect, though.
It is one of the biggest discussions I'm having on this slate, which I'm excited to talk about when we get there for sure. Because
I'm sure you are excited to talk about it. You went right into it.
It's the key to the slate, in my opinion. I mean, there's a lot of decision points to be made on it for sure. So we'll definitely have to save some time to talk about that, even though we spent a lot on the Magic and the Cavs. Again, if we get news on the Hawks, which it's 5:30, we should be getting some news rolling in here shortly. We'll discuss it again. Guys, if you could, please hit that like, hit that subscribe on the video. Helps us out a ton. Also, want to talk about our friends over at Super Draft. If you haven't signed up yet, hit that code Ron and Pierre. You get a $100 match deposit bonus, and you can use these multipliers that they have over at Super Draft to build out your teams. It's not a salary site, so you can take some of these cheap options. They might have a really big multiplier, which, hey, could help you get over the finish line with some of these cheaper options. We also have core plays over there on the site and the link to sign up over there at Rumpier Sports. So again, use the code RPSHeater25 to sign up and get in on the core plays. Tons of awesome stuff there. And you can use, Tony's workbench play. You can use any play that you see in the playbook over there, right? It doesn't matter about the salary. You're not going to see some different price tags on guys. It's just the multipliers that are the key. And we have core plays for that as well. We just got some news coming in. Duncan Robinson questionable, and Marcus Smart got suspended one game. If that's tonight's game, that's going to matter, right? I assume it is tonight's game, even though it was, just an hour. It depends if he appeals, right? He can sometimes appeal it.
He probably will, I imagine.
Yeah, I assume Marcus Smart is a guy that's not going to go down without a fight. So I guess we'll see if he appeals it. That's going to obviously be some pretty big news. We just got Hawks news. Kevin Huerter ruled out. So again, it's all filing in right now. Let's see, what game do we have up next? We got the Bulls and the Knicks. So let's talk about that while the news files in, and then we'll go back and talk about it, because I don't think there's going to be much news in this game. I don't think it's a game I really want to touch. I think we'd be pretty quick on it. I think Randall is someone that you can make a case for if you're looking for stars that you feel comfortable with their minutes. They're an Anthony Davis. There's always some concerns with him. Embiid, he could always tweak something, and you never know what's going to happen. Randall's going to be safe. Title, I'll go to you first. That's the only guy I'm really considering in this game. It's not a game I want to touch. How about you?
Yeah, it's not a game that really stands out either. I mean, there's like Thaddeus Young if you want it on FanDuel, a power forward, because it's so bad at 5K. It's just that's not someone that excites me on this slate. It's pretty much a stay away game for me. Low total at 209, relatively healthy. Your teams or their prices have been priced up with the injuries. So it's a game I won't have much interest. One off, if anybody, but Thad Young, maybe, I guess, if would be the one off. Don't love it.
Yeah, it sounds like the Smart thing might stick.
Will it?
Yes, it's suspended for a game without pay for directing threatening language toward a game official. I don't know, might be a hard thing to appeal. So maybe he just takes the L. But yeah, I think he's going to be ruled out here for this one. And we
Peyton Pritchard.
Yep. Pritchard's going to be a good one to talk about when we get it here. I think that's going to stick. And Huerter out.
Yeah, Smart's going to take it, so Smart will be out.
Yep. Bogdanovich and Goodwin are both game time decisions. So that came through there. So we can't talk about that yet. But Tony, this is a fade, right? I see some people talking about Rose in the chat. I just don't think I really want to touch this game too much. How about you?
So I'm going to go in and talk the opposite of what I did earlier about the box scores. Derrick Rose, 5,400, 37, 38, 31, 26, 38, 26, 26. That's what, 7 or 8 straight games where he crushed his price tag. And like people aren't going to like him as much as they should. Why? So is it just projections? Like I always wonder this about NBA. Like, why does he not get more attention when his price tag feels too cheap? You guys as cash players are better at this than me. I just don't get it, I guess. Like, why is he not a good play? He's been crushing this price tag.
Yeah, it is a good question. I'll admit I'm not I watched a little bit of that Knicks game against the Suns, and he was pretty impressive. I don't know why he's not. And the minutes are there, right? So
the minutes look good. The production looks good. The price tag looks good. But we just get – and I'm the same way. I just immediately crossed the Knicks off. But when you look a little deeper into it, it's playoff time. He's a veteran. He's going against the Bulls where he won the MVP. I think he kind of checks all the boxes for a really good play tonight. And I don't understand why his projection doesn't make sense to me. He's projected like 24 across the industry, 24, 25, when he's been more than that. 8 straight games. Like I just don't understand the projection.
The only reason I could think about it, and Title, maybe this is correct. Like sometimes I feel like projection sites, and I feel like when you kind of get locked into guys like Ingles and Clarkson, Osman, Halliburton, like they're all shooting guard eligible. I think sometimes what happens is some plays get overlooked. Now, maybe this isn't the case, right? But the Bulls play at a really slow pace. That is one of the reasons why maybe it's docked down a little bit. If they were playing the Wizards, maybe it would be shot up a little bit more. But Title, I didn't notice the recent production, but he has been playing well when I watched him the other day. And I was more impressed than I thought I would be with Derrick Rose. So what do you think of him here?
Yeah, no, if he gets the minute, I think the concern with him a little bit, I know he's played 33 minutes the past 2 games, but then he's seen 30 25. There was a 35, 24, 28. I think his minutes are projected for a lot of places and projections lower than what you think. I bet you he's probably projected like 27 or 28, which then brings his projection down. And that's why Osman pops all the time. Projections just love minutes, I think, more than their point per dollar or whatever, or their actual production. So that's the only thing I can think of. I think that's a very sharp, very low owned call. I mean, yeah, you get the revenge narrative if you want to say that too. It doesn't hurt against the Bulls, but yeah, my only guess is maybe minutes are projected lower than what's recently been going on.
Well, Alec Burks is back, but I will say, like, you could honestly see Alec Burks like slide into other people's minutes, and it's just still Derrick Rose gets the same. I wouldn't be shocked if that's what happens. That's what Thibodeau does sometimes. He just kind of plays the guys that have been playing well, and he'll dock it from like a quickly out of nowhere. Right? Like, take a little bit from him, a little bit from there, right? Even maybe from a Bullock. It might not get taken away from Rose as much as you think. Is that what you would think here, Tony?
I mean, Derrick Rose is his boy. He loves Derrick Rose. And yeah, Quickly's the one. I think he doesn't like Quickly. He doesn't like young guys. I don't know why it would come from. And I thought Title brought up a very sharp point. The projections, yeah, it's all about minutes. They're always, and this is where as a tournament player, I think you can leverage the field. Because what everyone does these days, they go and they look at the projections. We've talked about it all year. We've had tons of success at Run Pure in tournaments by taking advantage of the projections. This is a case where I think you can take advantage of the projections. The minutes, I've looked at 4 or 5 different sites since Title was talking. 24 minutes, 25 minutes, 23 minutes, 26 minutes. That he's dead on with his point. Like, yeah, if he plays that, maybe he is. But even then, in those low minute projections, he's still projected around value. Whereas if he gets in the 30s, you're going to skyrocket. Like, just whatever site you use, up his minutes to 33 and watch how good a projection he has. I'm probably going to play Derrick Rose and trust that it's the end of the year. This team wants to win games. I mean, I don't have the standings up in front of me right now, but they're in a battle for that 4 seed, I want to say, where they want to win games. They're a veteran team. I'm going to play Derrick Rose more than likely tonight.
All right. We did get some news. So here's some explanation on how the Hawks might handle everything. McMillan said if Goodwin and Bogdanovic can't go, Chris Dunn, whose minutes restriction has gone up a little, so they are giving a minutes upgrade for him, Tony, so it won't be 13.
I want to play him, so talk me into it.
I just don't know what the number is, right? Like, the upgrade could be from 13 to 16. I don't know the exact number. That is the concern. He says Skylar Mays will play some, and they also said Solomon Hill will play some guard, which if Solomon Hill is going to play some guard, that has me a little more nervous about Chris Dunn, because they're basically saying, hey, Chris Dunn does have some kind of cap to him. And they said Nathan Knight will spend some time at the 3. So maybe that makes some opportunity for those guys, but you'd obviously need Goodwin and Bogdanovic to be out. But that's kind of,
they're both out. I'm going to have a hard time not playing. I mean, the dude is, we spent the early part of the show talking about the 3K guys. I mean, he's 3,100. There's just not much risk. Worst case scenario, he plays 16 minutes. So what? I mean, if he plays 16 and gets you 14 fantasy points, it gets you Westbrook and Jokic and whatever else you want.
He's always been a good point per minute producer too.
He can get steals and stuff too, like he always has. I mean, 3,100. I mean, if he was going to play in the 20s, he'd be a 5 or 6K guy.
Yep. The Miz and Chad, because this is what confused me. Mango X'd out the whole game and then acted like it's a good play because T said so. Like, well, I didn't notice it. Like, this is one of Tony's strengths, and it's one of my weaknesses, right? Like, he's good at finding some of these plays that have been doing really well. The projections aren't seeing it because I play one lineup, right? I also played a little bit differently. I'm trying to play more towards the optimal and then try and find the pivots. And to be honest, guard is really deep for me today. And I wasn't even looking at a guy like Derrick Rose because of that. It just didn't even cross my mind. So that's why we do these shows, right, Tony? I mean, we sometimes see things that the other didn't see, right?
I love doing it with guys like Title and Mangone, Hoop, because they see the other side. And when we can come at it from both sides, that's when we pick winners, because I need more safety plays too, where plays like we'll get to the plays Mangone's excited about, the Utah guys, where sometimes you just got to jam plays in and sometimes you got to take chances. And the key is meeting in the middle. You can't just play all crazy guys either. You need safety and you need upside. You can't play all Chetty Osman and expect to win a tournament, but you can't play all Mark Mulder or whatever the freaking dude's name is and win a tournament either. You got to meet in the middle. And I think that's what we do good on these shows.
Yep, great example of it was one of the chatters there. He played Jabari Parker and Peyton Pritchard. And I was like, you shouldn't have played both. Maybe one, right? And one of them got there, the other didn't. And that's kind of some of the stuff. We're trying to help out with the Discord and everything like that, trying to help you guys out to become better DFS players. Let's move on, though.
We need more we need more likes first, man. Going 204, 550 watching. We don't need to beg, but we know the people can do better. Big T's back. Show them some love.
Yep.
Feels good being in the office too. I missed my 3 monitors.
bet.
I'm in the zone here. I'm used to one tiny little laptop for 2 weeks.
There is nothing better than getting back up in the setup when you haven't been there in a while. So I'm definitely with you on that. Let's go to the next game, Charlotte Hornets and the Boston Celtics. And again, Marcus Smart got ruled out. So now Pritchard is going to be a strong play. Tony, we'll go to you first. Are you playing him at that 4K price tag? Are you maybe looking to go to a Jaylen Brown or a Jason Tatum? I know Jaylen Brown kind of hurt himself a little bit, and we got Time Lord back too. Robert Williams, 5.6K. So there is opportunity here for the Celtics. Are you going to any of them?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough not to play Pritchard at 4K. I mean, he's been solid. I don't love his game. I mean, again, everyone makes fun of me because I always say I hate these white dudes, but it's just the truth. I just don't. I don't know. I
like his game. I like his game.
I do think I liked him at Oregon. I like him as a player. He's good at 4K. If he gets a little more expensive, I probably won't like him that much. But I mean, last game when he got a little boost, 33 minutes, 40 fantasy points. I don't think he has that kind of ceiling. I think that is just an awesome game. I don't think we see that again, but he's 4K. I only need 30 from him at that 4K price tag. And yeah, he's definitely going to be in play. I do want to see the injury. So we don't know about Tatum and Time Lord still, right?
Probable.
They're both going to play?
Yeah, they're both in.
Okay. So that does make me like him a little bit less just because he's 4K. So yeah, I'm not going to say he's a bad play. I'd rather play him than a guy like
Smart, right? There's guard opportunity for him there, and they're going to slide. Yeah. They're not going to slide in Romeo Langford, right? They're going to play Pritchard, and they've been playing him more because all these other guys like Romeo Langford and Grant Williams, they've been terrible. So they need to play Pritchard.
Langford played 22 minutes and took my Jabari. I just had that tilted me. They gave him all the Jabari minutes yesterday.
If you don't come back and play a little Jabari today, I don't know who you are because you know he's going to come back and smash today after he let you down yesterday.
I don't know if I can do. It was so
you got to just put one tournament team in somewhere with the pivot to Jabari because you know he's going to bounce back and just crush.
He got in the 4-minute mark of the first quarter. I was like, perfect. This is a rotation. We just needed the minutes. He came out 3 minutes later for Luke Cornett, and then Peyton Pritchard had the game of his life, and then Langford played, and then Jabari never saw the court again. So he got a rebound in 3 minutes. It was hurtful.
How bad is this Boston team, too? They have fallen on. Everybody was blaming Kyrie and Kyrie's killing all these young, talented guys. It's Kyrie's fault. Kyrie leaves. Brooklyn's amazing. Not just because of Kyrie, but Kyrie, take all the off the floor crap out of it. On the floor, he's been absolutely amazing. And Boston's been terrible. So me and Mangone, I know from the beginning, we're kind of on team Kyrie. I don't know. I think Boston,
he's a stud.
I think Kyrie is the typical guy when everything's going right. He's the Stones, right? But when things are not right, it was getting shaky there at the start of the year without Harden. So I think that's one of the keys.
Like I said, he's done a lot of just when he's on the floor is what I'm talking about.
Amazing.
He crushes when he's on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, could you imagine if he never made the title runs with LeBron, what his career could be? He could be one of those guys that prima donna, people don't want to deal with him, right? Everyone just says he's the worst, he's terrible to deal with, can get a bucket, but sure. He's one of those guys. I love playoff Kyrie, and I can't wait till he comes back. But
the dude in the chat says Luke Cornett has to be Big T's least favorite. I mean, he's definitely up there. Ooh, he's so bad.
Yeah. No doubt. Big T. So I'm gonna ask you about a guy only because I'm gonna pull the Big T. I'm gonna open up the game log, right, and just see what's been happening. Brad Wanamaker is disgusting. I hate talking about him, but I was shocked to see it when I opened it up. Last 3 games, 18 minutes, 11.5 isn't great, right? But the last 2, one was against Boston, same exact spot almost. He played 24 minutes, got 19.5 fantasy points, which for 3K you will take. 27 minutes, 25.5. You will take that. And I think part of the reason he's played more is because they moved PJ Washington to the 5 a bit more, and that has kind of slid some players down a spot, and it's opened up some minutes for him. I don't want to play him. I'm considering it, but he probably won't make the team. What do you think about him? Because again, if you look at the last 2 games and do what you kind of do, it does make some sense.
I think it makes more than enough sense because he's 3K. The same conversation we've had all show. He's 3K. If he's going to play 25 minutes against his former team, I might add, that he made some playoff runs, I think it's a great play. I want to play Westbrook and Jokic. To play Westbrook and Jokic, you're going to have to play some 3K guys. And if he was just point guard, I think it would be a little thinner, but he's shooting guard eligible too on DK.
Yes.
I'm never, ever going to argue with a 3K guy that plays 25 minutes. I'm just never going to argue with that.
Yeah.
I think it might even be a very good play. So I'll even take it that much further. And I think it might be a decent cash play on top of it.
And I mean, again, Brad Wanamaker is one of those guys where I get sick when I see him, and I was like, oh, Tony's going to make fun of me for this, but it's something I'm just considering.
He's 3K.
Yeah, exactly. And again, these
guys will never end your night unless they don't play. If they don't play, maybe you get screwed. As long as they get you double digits is always that number where like, okay, the pressure's off. Just get me to double digits, then I won't worry anymore.
All right, Title. How about you? Is it a crazy idea to do that? And then I guess we can go talk about some other games. We got to speed all along a little bit, but I do think he's a value that you would be considering.
Yeah, I think he's actually going to be pretty popular on this 10-game slate. And that's where if you need a pivot, I mean, we've already talked about multiple other 3K punts, the Dodsons. I mean, there's been multiple, and there might even be a little more, but Wanamaker feels very safe. I mean, Charlotte's rotation is this trimmed down. There's safe minutes for Wanamaker. A little revenge narrative too, if you want to add that. 3K, I mean, we talk about it all the time. 11 points won't kill you if it gets you Jokic and Westbrook could go off for 70. That's what you need to get it. So I definitely like Wanamaker. I like Peyton Pritchard now at 4K on DraftKings. I'm not expecting his 40 piece like yesterday, but with Smart out, I mean, that's just so much of the ball handling is now on Pritchard's hands. And I like his game. He's a solid facilitator, 30 minutes or whatever at that price tag. I like that a lot. Other than that, I mean, like if you want a Devontae Graham or Terry Rozier, I'd only play one of them max. You can do a Terry Rozier. I mean, that's another revenge. How many revenge spots are in this game? But Terry Rozier, I mean, this is a revenge I could get behind since he already plays all the minutes in the world. He already shoots the ball a ton. And yeah, I mean, he wants to show Boston. He was good for Boston. So I like that a little bit. It's a game that I like the cheapies more, Wanamaker, Pritchard, and then I could get behind Rozier in tournaments.
For sure. Let's move on. Let's talk about the Wizards and let's talk about the Lakers. Man, I want to play Russell Westbrook. He seems like a fun option. I faded him on one of my teams the other day, and now I say never fade Westbrook because I felt like an idiot. I played him so much, and it was like the one day I decided not to, and it definitely hurt. So, Tony, are we not fading Westbrook today?
I just laughed at the dude is crushed for us for literally 2 straight months. And then the dude in chat the other night, he finally had a bad game and still went for 40, I might add. Yeah, 40, whatever. We don't want 40 from Westbrook, but that's not the reason you lost. Westbrook getting 40 did not cost you your night. I promise you it didn't. His first bad game, though, in 2 months, and dude was probably waiting for the whole time to be like, I told you so. Westbrook, he can't win. And then, like, 19 screenshots. Well, I won with Westbrook. And he was still, like, arguing with it. Westbrook is just a man. Against the Lakers, Washington's playing for positioning in the playoffs. And you want to talk about another thing, the bet side. If you haven't added the bet side, you're crazy. I'm going to give you a winner. I don't see how Washington, they've come through every time when I've given them out. I don't see how they don't beat the Lakers. Like, this Washington team is underrated. I think they're way better than people think they are. You have 2 studs and you got other guys that play alongside them. They're going to beat the Lakers, and somehow the freaking Lakers are favored. Why? Why are the Lakers favored? Like, that shouldn't be. Go bet Washington.
AD's back.
AD's back and playing 30.
I don't care who's back. Play Washington.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Me and Spread did the bet show today, and we leaned Washington. So I almost bet him last night.
I want leans. I want go to the ticket window and let's get our money, man. Go.
I have another. I'll get my best bet later on when we get there. How's that sound?
Get in Washington with me. Let's go.
I'll throw some in after the show for sure. I'll make a little parlay of some of the ones I like. And
these winners from the show have been we've hit. I did pick one loser last week, but overall it has to be like 80 or 90% on this show.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys crushed it.
You have been killing it with those for sure. The bet size
Washington is not losing to the Lakers. Screw the Lakers.
I think spread is 17 of his last 20 or something pretty good. So use the code GETBETS to check all that out. But yeah, Title, how about you? Westbrook, we locking that one in. What's the plan here with Russell Westbrook today?
Oh, yeah. I mean, how do you not like Russell Westbrook? He's just as safe as they come. I definitely love him. Guard's absolutely loaded. So, yeah, I mean, he's definitely going to get ownership, but I don't think he's going to be crazy owned. Like, I think Jokic is just going to be higher owned than Westbrook today just because of, I mean, we talked about so many guards that are good. Center's not as good. So, yeah, I mean, I like jamming in Westbrook. And I agree with Big T. I mean, this Washington team, no one wants to see this team in the playoffs. I mean, I don't want my Bucks
no
matched
one,
up.
Like, literally not a single team. They might not win, but no one wants to see them.
Bradley Beal. Yeah, Bradley Beal, Westbrook, and I mean, yeah, like you said, they're Rui Hachimura is a complimentary piece, plays both. Like, you don't want to see this team. I like that bet for sure, but it's Westbrook. I mean, we don't really target too many people outside secondary pieces on this team since he commands so much of the ball. The Lakers, I'm not going to go there with AD back playing about 30 minutes. So Westbrook or nothing.
Yeah, definitely agree with you on that. Love Westbrook here in this spot. I know people are talking about AD at 9-2. I'm not doing it. I'm sorry. I just
don't play AD. I mean, he is going to have a big game at some point, but how are you going to play him over? I mean, I don't even think I could play him over Beal. You know what? You want to know who's going to be 1%? Beal's going to be 1%. And in a tournament, I don't completely hate it. Like we said at the beginning of the show, you just don't know. You don't know what's going to happen on a slate. If Jokic bust, if Embiid bust, if some of these other guys bust, and Beal somehow gets a bunch of points with Westbrook, you're going to win the slate.
Yeah, and again, Vegas is always right? This is a good spread. So I want to stay on these studs in this game for the most part. But the AD one, I know his ceiling is a little capped at 31 minutes. He's not getting 40, right? That's the problem there. So I want to get my studs that I know are going to be out there on the court for a while. Let's move on to the next game. Let's talk the Spurs and the Heat. And I believe we're still waiting on news on Nunn and Hero, because if Nunn and Hero are out, man, I want to play some Jimmy Butler. I want to look at Goran Dragic because they will not have any guards. Even K-Alex boy Gabe Vincent, he played a lot of minutes the other night. It was terrible. But he played
did terrible that day we were arguing. I forgot to look at what he did.
Oh, I mean, Tony, it was a disaster. He played 30 minutes and got 6.5 fantasy points.
He played 30 minutes that night?
Yes. 30, which again, like if I told you, Tony, he played 30 minutes, right? You would have wanted to play him.
But this is where I differ from K Fallick though, because I've watched him a bunch. I think he's like awful. K Fallick thinks he's like good. I think he just sucks. Like I've played him a few games and he just sucked out there. So I mean, I can see him playing 30 minutes and not doing much. But the flip side, yeah, if you told me 30 minutes with no guards and he's 3K, sure.
And he's shooting guard eligible. So there you go. But I like the Butler idea. Again, I want to jam in some of these dudes that I know are trying down the stretch, and Jimmy Buckets is trying. They're fighting with the Celtics to have that number 7 or 6 seed, and that 7 seed you don't want. You don't want to do the playing game. You just want that 6 seed. So, and hey, listen, if you do get that 6 seed, you get to beat up on Title's Bucks, right? Because they're terrible, right, Tony? So playoffs come around and they fold. So that's who you want to play against. Title, we'll go to you. What are you thinking of Jimmy Butler, the team that took down your Bucks?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really on Jimmy Butler in today's spot. I'm not really high on this game in general. If I had to do one person and just to get different in the lower tier, it'd be Lonnie Walker at 3,600. Don't click on the game log the past 2 games. You will automatically not play him. I mean, it's bad, but Derek White's out. He gets a little boost. It's probably not a slate. It's a very big slate. If you're 150ing, you can put him at like 6%, and then you're 5x over the field or whatever. If you're making a couple lineups, you don't play it. But that shows that I just don't have much interest in this game. 2 pretty healthy teams, giant 10-game slate, great value. I don't think you have to go to this spot.
All right, Tony, how about you? We talked about Vincent a little bit, but let's go back to you. Are you touching many guys from this game again? Because I think if those guys get ruled out, I think that Dragic and Butler are going to be strong plays.
Yeah, I mean, if they get some injuries, I'll probably look back. It's just tough for me to spend up on. I'm kind of like you guys, where I've only played one team really in the NBA, so I just don't know if I can get to Butler with those other guys at the top. But I mean, I like him definitely more if the guys are out. For now, I'm probably just going to fade this game and kind of see what comes of it. But I mean, I get it for sure.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the next game. We got the Blazers and the Grizzlies. And again, not a game I'm in love with, but Damian Lillard has a really cheap price, or as JT calls him, Mr. Damian Lillard. He's like 8-3, I think, on FanDuel. Maybe he might be 8-1. What is it?
8-1.
Okay, so 8-3 yesterday. Now he's 8-1. He went down. Gets a matchup in a 240 total title. So I'll go to you first. Are you playing Mr. Damian Lillard at that pretty cheap price tag?
I mean, I like that price a lot. 8-1 on FanDuel for someone as good as Damian Lillard for all those minutes in a good spot against Memphis too. I definitely like going right back there. It's just a FanDuel only play for me though. 9.3K. I'm not going to do that on DraftKings. A couple other guys in this game. Robert Covington on FanDuel, 5K. He had a very good game last night. JT actually was on him as the Eiffel Tower play of the day. Shout out to JT. Very good call. He put up a good game. I like him there. I like Nurkic on DraftKings, 6,800. We talk about how the center position isn't very good today. If you can't get all the way up to Jokic, or even if you want a double center, Jokic and Nurkic has shown a lot of upside recently. So I like there, 6,800. If you want a Memphis side, I don't really like Memphis today. If I did anyone, it would just be more value at DeAnthony Melton at 3,800. I'm expecting about 24, 25 minutes, but we listed a lot of other better value plays. He'd be like a 5%er if you need it on Memphis though. But I think it's Nurkic on DraftKings, Covington on both sites, prefer him on FanDuel, and then Dame on FanDuel because of the price tag.
All right, Big T, talk to me about some of these Blazers. You got Nurkic there, who I think is in play, who's been crushing as of late. And then another guy on the opposite side, I was trying to like get a little creative, and I felt like DeAndre Melton could make some sense as like a 3.8K guy, but I think we've got enough guard value where we don't have to go there. And I think Memphis is getting a little more healthier than I think people are realizing.
No, I mean, this game's an easy fade for me. You talk about April and May DFS NBA. Both these teams are going to play 10 dudes tonight. They're healthy. Almost all of their guys are in. I mean, that I can see. Maybe I'm missing somebody, but both teams look healthy to me. Even Dame. So I love when these sites underprice people like Dame down to 81 because I know everyone's going to play him, and I know he doesn't have a ceiling because they have too many dudes. I love when guys roster people that don't have a ceiling. I mean, they have so many guys they can play. I mean, McCollum, Nurkic, Covington, Norm Powell, Canner Melo gets shots. Anthony Simons went off yesterday. I just don't see a ceiling from Dame in this spot. Yeah, I mean, there's a scenario, the monster total, the game shoots out, he gets hot. I get it for sure, but he's going to be high owned because of the price tag, and I'm good with that. This game's just an easy. I want to target teams that are down bodies, not teams that are fully healthy like this, and I'm just going to fade it.
Yeah, I mean, 240 total. So I was like trying to find guys, but I do think they're a little more healthier than I would like. So I'm definitely a little nervous about that one. Let's move on to the next game.
Kevin in the chat says Wizards -9 plus 310. I love bets like that. Like, yeah, it's -9. You think on paper, like, oh, it's a lot of points, but you're getting 3-1. And the Lakers are the type of team that if they start getting pounded, they'll just pull their dudes, call it a night. They don't care. So I love bets like that where you get 3-1.
Yeah, by the way, we got news. Bogdanovich out, Goodwin available. So Goodwin at 4-3. Tony, before we go to the next game, what does that do for you there?
I mean, so Goodwin versus Pritchard could be like a talking point. I think I like Pritchard more just because I trust it more. They need the guard in Boston. Goodwin's more of a play I like when he's cheap. I mean, not that 4-3 is expensive, but I just like it more as a cheap play. I'll probably play Pritchard. I still probably like Dunn more than even a guy like Goodwin as far as.
Yeah, another thing too to mention, like if you get let's say you want to play Goodwin, let's say you want to play Westbrook, let's say you want to play Pritchard. Let's say you get news that Steven Adams is out and you want to play Big Willie Hernan-Gomez. You can't play Jokic anymore. You've lost the spots. None of those guys are shooting guards. So worth mentioning. That's something to look at. Title, what are you doing here? Is Goodwin someone that you're going to be jamming into your lineups now?
I don't think I'll be jamming in. I mean, there's so many good guards we've talked about. He's definitely in play at 4.3K, but there's Pritchard at 4K. There's Westbrook all the way up top. I mean, there's Dotson or there's Wanamaker. There's Dotson if you want to go different. Like the guard position's absolutely loaded today. So not a lock, but 4.3K without Bogdanovich. He'll handle the ball a decent amount. I think he's fine.
Yeah, for sure. We just got the Wizards lineup, which doesn't matter. It's the same thing as always, pretty much. Rui's in there, Len, Beal, Neto, and Westbrook. But let's go to the next game. Let's go to Nuggets and Pelicans, where I want to play myself some Jokic. I also like Porter as a spend-up option if you have the opportunity to. I think he's a better FanDuel play, but I still like him here. And then on the Pelican side, I want to obviously play Willie Hernangomez if I can get Steven Adams out, but I need that news. And Tony, I also like the Nuggets here. -4. I think the Nuggets are a really good bet. Pelicans are one of those boom bust teams. I don't even mind doing one of those alt lines because, again, they leave you open for 3-pointers. And if those things fall, it's going to go well. And I think this is going to be a game where the usage is funneled towards Jokic. And if an Adams is out, that's obviously a great thing. It'll be barbecue chicken for Jokic versus Hernangomez. Tony, do you like my call on taking the Nuggets as my best bet? I got him at 3.5, but I still like him at 4.
I mean, I'm going to bet the Nuggets. I probably am not the best to answer because I always like the Nuggets for the most part. But I'm going to bet them the rest of the year. I think they're gelling. I think MPJ has taken on the role as the number 2. He's looked amazing since Jamal went out, like I thought he would. And I think he's taken over. And I think Denver's severely underrated without Jamal, like I've been saying. I know I'm partial, so maybe I'm not the best to answer. But, yeah, I love them against New Orleans, and I do think you can play some New Orleans guys the other way too, just because Denver never is going to be just a total lockdown. But one underrated thing is they got way better on defense, which people might not have realized by Barton and Jamal and Morris going out, because Facu and Dozier are much better defenders than those other guys. PJ Dozier's a great defender. People might not realize it, but he can lock people up. And I think Denver is quietly going to make a charge. I know they're my team, so I'm probably not the best to ask. But I don't. As far as DFS tonight, too, no one's ever going to play Dozier and Camp and Facu at 54 and 48. These dudes are going to play more minutes than people realize. Facu's going to play 30 minutes. I know people keep, if he does this, Austin Rivers is going to steal minutes. I don't think so. I think if he goes in and he's just totally dusty, maybe he loses. But I don't think he's going to be. I love Facu, and I think he crushes in his 30 minutes in this spot. So I like Denver a lot tonight. No one's going to play MPJ again. He just shipped for JSU the other night. He's 8,600. Nobody's going to play him, and he keeps dropping 50 balls. So I think he's a very, very sneaky play tonight.
Yep, agree on that. We got Caruso out. Probably doesn't do much, but figured I'd mention it. Title, are you with us? Do you like the Nuggets -4? And what are you doing here with Jokic?
Yeah, I think that sounds like probably the right side. I don't have as strong of a conviction, but if you like it, you talked about it with spread too. I'm going to agree with you there. As far as DFS, yeah, I like Jokic on both sides for sure. It's hard not to like Jokic. He's just one of the best players there is. So I'll pay up for him. We have all the value in the world. Outside of him, Michael Porter Jr., like you talked about, I like him more on FanDuel where he's 7,700. You have to play 2 small forwards, but he's going to be a lot higher owned on FanDuel. So if you play him on DraftKings at 8,600, like Big T saying, you'll get him at 2%. And he's been playing such good basketball. I know you think of Michael Porter, you look at that price tag and you immediately X him off, but his role on this team is just so much bigger without Jamal. He's shooting the ball really well. He's not afraid to shoot. He definitely has a ton of upside. So tournaments on DraftKings, very good play on FanDuel. As far as the Pelicans side, I don't have too much interest. The one guy I have I have 2 guys I have interest in. Zion, but that's really just on FanDuel where he's 9,400 and you have to play 2 power forwards. I'm not going to pay 10-2 for him. I don't think he has that kind of upside in this matchup for that price on the slate. FanDuel, I like the price. And then a low owned guy that's going to get very overlooked is Lonzo Ball at 6,500. His minutes are finally back up. He played 37 last game, so I'm not worried about the minutes restriction. I mean, Lonzo has been such a better player this year. Every game he shows improvements. He's just a sniper from the 3-point line now. Isn't afraid to shoot it at all. 6,500. He has 45, 50 point up. I mean, he has 50 plus point upside if he really is hot. I like that price. I think he's very low owned. You can go like a Jokic, Lonzo, just get 2 pieces from the game, hope it stays close and they go back and forth. So that's how I approach it. The Campazzo and Dozier on a smaller slate, I definitely would like it. 30 minutes for Campazzo, you feel good with, but for the price tags, for all the value at guards, I'm not going to go there today, but he's going to be very low owned because of it.
I don't think people realize how good of a shooter MPJ is. Like, he's setting historic marks for the season, not just since Jamal went out. Like, he is stroking the ball, and it's not fluky. Like,
he can
just
shoot.
a very, very good shooter. Like, he's wet.
And his feet are set maybe like 18% of the time too. Like right when he catches it, wherever his feet are, anything, because he elevates so well, no one blocks it. He's a sniper for sure.
Yeah, MPJ has been awesome.
This
Definitely
game is a sneaky game stack. I'm just gonna say, like, Lonzo, I love the Lonzo call. Zion should destroy this defense. I mean, I talked about the defense. That was more from the guard. I mean, who's going to guard Zion? They don't have anyone to guard Zion. This game is a super sneaky game stack type game.
I think it'll be Aaron Gordon probably trying with help from down low is what I'd guess. I mean, yeah, no one can stop Zion when he really gets going for sure.
Yeah, I will say though, there's a guy that could probably give him fits. It's Aaron Gordon could be like the guy, right? Like he definitely fits the style of guy if you want to like build one or at least find one in the NBA. That's the one thing that maybe he has going for him, but it's hard to stop Zion. Not many can do it. Let's go on and talk about the game I wanted to talk about forever ago. The Utah Jazz and the Sacramento Kings. And I want to talk about it because there's a lot that's going on here. Obviously, Halliburton, right? Title, you'll talk about him a ton. I think Terrence Davis, I think you're going to see Maurice Harkless with Harrison Barnes being out. I think you're going to see Harkless more at the 4. And with him at the 4 a lot more, it's going to give opportunities to some other guards. And I think Terrence Davis could be one of those beneficiaries. I do think you might see Metu more a little bit too at the 4 as well if they have to. So I think he's an interesting value. And there's a lot of value plays that you can look at on the Kings side of the ball. And on the Jazz side, it's really like, I mean, there's no Conley, there's no Mitchell. So Clarkson and Ingles against a Kings team that play no defense at all. And my lean right now is I like Ingles over Clarkson. And the reason why is I just like being able to slide someone in at the forward spot. I think it's that valuable. If you told me Ingles could not play forward on DraftKings and you told me Clarkson could, I would probably put Clarkson in there. I think that's part of the reason why. But Ingles is definitely someone that I am looking at here. I think you could make a case for Gobert, but it's not the right slate and there's better options. It is the Kings, right? All these guys could be interesting, but I even think Georges Niang could be intriguing as a cheap forward option. If you want to go really, really cheap, if you look at the last couple of games, 24 minutes, 14, 20 minutes, but he's gotten between 16 and 24 fantasy points. Again, 3.4K guy. And the forward position is what we're talking about. We want to have these punt options so we can spend up at some of these other spots. So, Tony, I'll go to you first. What do you finally think of Jordan Clarkson here?
Yeah, I mean, the Sacramento has been a team we've targeted all year. They play no D. Now they got Harrison Barnes out, who's one of their better defenders. Obviously, he's always been solid on D, which opens it up even more. They're just not going to have any sort of defense. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how I compare Clarkson and Ingles. I guess I would agree with you just because the small forward spot. They're both great plays, though, against Sacramento. And even Bojan in this spot, small forward, power forward, has to be in play. The good thing about Utah is they play these guys a little bit, even in blowouts. I think this game definitely could blow out, just looking at it on paper. Even though Utah's got guys out, this Sacramento roster looks like a death train to me. I mean, it looks very, very bad. And I think this game turns into a blowout, but I don't think that hurts these guys. I think they'll get there in their time. Maybe they lose the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game if it blows out, but I think those 3 are great plays. Sacramento's where I'll probably take a stand and totally fade. Halliburton and Buddy have been playing good, but their prices are up. I just don't see it. I can't pay this price tag for Halliburton. I know he's been good, but I just don't trust it. I feel he's too expensive. I think they get blown out. I'm not playing Mo Harkless. I'm definitely not playing Terrence Davis, who's let me down so many times. I can't even count how many times he's let me down. I just don't like it. I think Utah's going to blow them out. I'm going to stick with the Utah guys and fade these Sacramento guys.
All right, Title, how about you? A lot to talk about here. I'm sure you're going to have some exposure. What are you doing here with this game?
Yeah, so for Utah, definitely like Clarkson and Ingles on both sides. They're my favorite too. Gobert's fine on both sides, I think. But like you said, it's not like I'm going to jam in Rudy Gobert today at 8-3. Like I'd rather find the money for Jokic. But if I can't find it, I landed him on center. You could do worse. Bohan, I like him on FanDuel a lot more than DraftKings because you have to play 2 small forwards. He's 5,200. So I'd rank up Clarkson and Ingles as the best plays on both sides. Bohan on FanDuel.
I love how you call him Bohan. That's a JT. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's definitely.
I'm gonna call him Bohan from now on.
He doesn't deserve for me to say his whole last name. That's too long. But
Is it Bohanovich?
but,
Tony,
yeah, no.
Tony, speaking of title pronunciations, how do you say you have big balls? Is it cojones or is it cahoonies?
No, it's Cahoonies. That's how I'm saying it. That's how I'm saying it. I'm not saying Cahoonies. It's Cahoonies. All right, going back to this game. Yeah, so I broke down Utah. Cahoonies, that's what it is. That's how it's going to be said. But going to Tyrese Halliburton, yeah, this is finally the moment that I've been waiting for Halliburton, where the offense is just running through him. Now there's no Barnes. There hasn't been Fox. He's played 36 and 37 minutes the past 2 games. His usage rate's 26 and 27 the past 2 games as well. I mean, this is finally the Halliburton that I want, the spot that I wanted, where he's just the alpha on the offense. 7,100. I hope people do overlook that price tag on both sides because it does feel expensive, but I'm going right back there. He's my favorite king on this site or on this slate. I do like Mo Harkless and Terrence Davis if you do need value. I mean, there's so much value on this slate, and that's why stars are going to be played. But without Barnes and Fox, Harkless should play more at the 4. I like that 3,800 price tag, small forward and power forward eligible. And then Terrence Davis gets the shooting guard and small forward eligible as well, too. So I think those are 2 good price tags. Halliburton's still my favorite. I think a sneaky guy that's going to go overlooked is DeLon Wright if you want to go there. 4,900. He's point guard and shooting guard eligible. When he gets the minutes, he always does well. I wouldn't play him and Halliburton together. They do eat into each other, kind of what you were talking game theory-wise earlier, Mangone. But if Halliburton doesn't get there, I think DeLon Wright would. So it's a very good game to target. A lot of injuries, so I'll have interest in it. I broke down the Utah side. Halliburton's my favorite play. Terrence Davis, Harkless on DraftKings for the value.
All right, guys, please hit that like, hit that subscribe in the video. Helps us out a ton. We'll have JSU and Holding coming up next for the final countdown show, so be sure to check that out. I don't want to hold the plays of the day from you guys, and we're getting low on time, so it's easier to pull that off. So let's get those likes moving here. Tony, we'll go to you for this last game. Suns and Clippers. Paul George, he's 9.8K. It's an expensive price tag, but he still has a ton of opportunity, and he let people down the other day. Are you going to him against these Phoenix Suns?
God, he hurt my feelings the other day. I faded the Clippers all year, and I finally sold myself on him. Like, he was crushing, guys were out. God, I didn't listen to my own advice. You can't trust this Clippers team the last stretch of the year, I don't think. They just don't care about these games. I don't know. I'm not. This is the late game, and I just don't. I'm going to fade this game. I'll make it easy.
I have myself muted. If you are looking to play these guys, right, like a Paul George, like maybe if you're on the Kings game, make a pivot to go over to like a lower owned play, right, or go to a Marcus Morris instead of like an Ingles to try and catch up. There's opportunities here. It is a nice revenge game for a little Marcus Morris, and also you got Paul George is not happy with Chris Paul and Devin Booker. They've been going at it on the court a little bit. And if you look at the last couple of games, I think George dropped 36 points and 33 the last 2 games against the Suns, and so it should be a fun game to watch. Definitely going to be checking this one out. Title, how about you? DFS-wise, this doesn't seem like a fun one, but seems like a fun game to watch if you like basketball.
Yeah, I mean, I think you broke that down perfectly. It's a good game to watch, but I really only watch games if I have DFS players in them, not going to lie, until it gets later in the playoffs, and I still have DFS players on them. So I'm not going to have much interest in this game. We talked about multiple games, multiple people. It's such a big slate with so much value. I don't see the need to go anywhere in this game. Paul George, I guess, if you want, but we like other spend ups more.
Yep, definitely like other spend ups more. That'll wrap it up for the show, but you know what? Well, we will still give away the plays of the day. And the reason why is I don't want to create bad mojo first time Big T back, right? Let's keep this rhythm going. We won't give away any gear. Maybe you'll give away some gear on the NFL draft show tonight. He'll be on with JSU, 9:00 tonight, talking the NFL draft. So maybe you can get some gear then, but no gear now. We'll go to the plays of the day. Title, I'll go to you first. Hit me with your play of the day.
I feel safe that this guy is going to get more than 3 minutes. He hopefully should get more than 30 minutes is what I'm expecting, but his ownership's going to be really low. And I like the run back in the game from Jokic, and that's Lonzo Ball at 6,500. It's going to be extremely low owned. People are going to play all the other guards. 6,500 doesn't break your bank with Lonzo too, and he has that 50-point upside. I really like him in this matchup. I think if the game stays close, which it's supposed to, he's going to be a main reason why. Give me Lonzo Ball at very low ownership at 6,500.
All right. I'm going to go to, and again, he was chalky kind of before we got on the show, and I didn't realize he was as chalky, but I don't think he's going to still be super chalky.
He'll be like 5%, I think. I don't see him in the double digits at all.
No, not your guy. I'm talking my guy. Sorry. No, your guy is low owned, Title. No worries. So I'm setting up my guy. I'm going to go with Mr. Wanamaker at the 3K tag. The reason why they're at the 8-man rotation, which has been nice. And people are going to pivot over to these other guards now, right? Brandon Goodwin's going to become sexier. Like, I think that's really how it's going to go down. He was chalkier earlier. I think the ownership is going to be lower. It's a really big slate too, but I like that he's shooting guard eligible. You won't see him in the point guard slot. You'll see him in the shooting guard spot for me if I do play him, but he is definitely going to be someone that I'm keying in on in tournaments on DraftKings. I think he's got some opportunity to allow you to roster a lot of different plays. Big T, we'll go over to you. Hit me with your workbench play of the day. First time back in the office.
Yeah, I like those two plays. And honestly, I could make a team with both of those plays and my guy. And I've been fiddling around with it a little bit, but I'm going up top. I'm going with my boy MPJ. I talked him up hard. One little known thing about these last couple Nuggets games, I was in Denver the last couple weeks, so I watched even closer than normal. But back-to-back blowouts, actually 3 straight blowouts, counting the game they lost to Golden State. These guys haven't got full run. I mean, Jokic hasn't really played all that much in the fourth at all. So I'm going to play MPJ tonight at 1% owned, like my man JSU did the other night when he shipped second, almost first. I think he gets us a 50 piece. No one's going to play him. He fits nice with Jokic and Lonzo and Wanamaker. You can string all 3 of our plays together in this game. You probably will have to fade Westbrook, but this is a tournament. These are tournament type plays. And yeah, I mean, you don't want to fade Westbrook, but if Lonzo could get you 50, MPJ could get you 50, Jokic could obviously get you 60 or 70. And when all those guys do that, yeah, Westbrook, I mean, if he needs 70 or 80 to totally beat you.
You still could on this slate, I think. Yeah, we said so many values. You could probably go Westbrook, Jokic, MPJ, Lonzo.
I just put it in there is the only reason. So if you do that, if you play all our guys with Jokic and Westbrook, you got basically 3,300 for your last 3 spots. You could make it happen, but I do, even as a tournament guy, I think it might be a hair thin, but if you can make it work, absolutely do it.
All right, we did just get news. Tyler Hero out. Oladipo is still out, and then Nunn, Duncan Robinson,
Vincent,
both questionable. So waiting on that, and then that'll wrap it up. JSU and Holden will take care of that for you. We've already gone way too far. They got to get on the show, so we're gonna get on out of here. For me, Mango and Big T and Title Down. See you later.
Good luck, everybody.